This an all-out blitz, real hard hits, them other podcast trash, we gon' make them all quit. We cover all the topics with intelligence and logic. I know you wanna score, but ID gon' stop it. We from Texas, so that mean that we Texans. Breaking down the X's and O's, our profession. No complaining, just training, you see the progression. They had a Pro Bowl for talk shows, we get selected. We gon' celebrate every win like a birthday. Ray J with the news, first with all the updates. Spin move on the competition, yeah, we juking them. You not really in touch if you not tuning in. This is Crenshaw, Briggs, and VT. We want the touchdown, we not trying to go for 3. And it's best if you get up out the street, cause them bulls out the pen and they bout to stampede.
Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Texans Fan Battle Podcast. Today Matt is not here. He's out for today, but we've got me and Crenshaw, and today we're going to do a actual real battle. But before we do that, we're going to get to a little bit of NFL news. There's a few things going on. So we will get to the main event real soon, but first we're going to talk about a little bit of NFL news. So the first thing going on is, this was a couple days ago, but it's still in the news because Dak Prescott talked about it. And that's the picture that Jerry Jones had. And essentially it was a picture of him taken when he was 15 years old. And he was standing outside a school that was undergoing desegregation. And so people were asking, why were you there? And his comment was that he was curious to see what was going on as a 14, 15-year-old boy. And people said that, well, that needs to be explained. Were you just staring down, black individuals trying to get into school and stuff like that? And there are a couple different points of view, right? Like, he has to explain himself, he has to apologize. And then there's the other point of view, which is this was 65 years ago. He was a kid. He really didn't know what he was doing. So I'm curious what your take is on that.
I mean, like I say, it was a long time ago. But I remember I watched a movie called I think it's called Revolution Road, and it's a basketball movie, and it was about racism. And they had a young Pat Riley, a dude played Pat Riley, the dude from the Heat, and he was being racist. And I'm assuming he didn't know what he was doing, or he knew what he was doing during that time. But I mean, yeah, it's a big deal, but it's 65 years ago. I'm pretty sure everybody around that time was racist. That don't mean he's racist right now. Or he could be racist right now. I don't know, but I don't really see it as a big issue. I mean, 65 years ago, just let it go,
Right. That's kind of how I feel. Dak Prescott talked about it today for a little bit, and because he's mixed, he said that he has a way of talking about it because he's mixed, so you really have either side that he necessarily sticks to. And he basically said that you got to give it in context, and essentially that he didn't blame him, he didn't forgive him necessarily or throw it away. He just said, just have it in context, have some, more or less have a little bit of common sense. And I kind of think that's all there is to it. I think too many people are trying to do a little bit more than they really should. And I think it's take it for what it's worth. A guy did something when he was 65 years ago. He's not that same person. Even if he was a racist back then, he's not that same person today.
It's because it's the Cowboys, so it's going to be a major news. That's the only reason why. It's just a way to troll the Cowboys. That's all.
True. Well, we'll move on because we do want to get to the fight. So, the next story is Antonio Brown back in the news. He has a warrant out for domestic violence. Now, I did read up on this because the headlines didn't make it sound really bad. I'm not about to say that we should not take domestic violence seriously, but the details are that he took a shoe and threw it at a female. Didn't hit her in the head. It hit her in her ponytail, and then went back into the house and refused to leave. And so the police, at the time that I got the last update, which was about an hour ago, I don't think anything has changed because I did look it up and didn't see any more updates. But basically, he was refusing to leave the house. So the police basically wanted to give an informal eviction notice, and he wouldn't come out of the house. The kids said they were scared to be in with him, which is a little alarming. But so far, that's about all we have. We don't have any other information other than he threw a shoe at this lady, and she called the cops, and the cops are trying to get him out, and he wouldn't come out of the house. And I don't know if this is just craziness. I don't know if this is CTE. I don't know if this is him being an asshole. What's your take on this?
Everything you just said. It's crazy. CTE, asshole, and him hanging with Kanye West. It's all that right there.
All right.
It seems like once he left Mike Tomlin, he ain't been the same guy, man. I mean, he got to the Raiders and he didn't play a down with them. This guy was a phenomenal player, Hall of Fame guy. I still think he might be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know if they're going to discredit him now. He just really been tripping. Just come out the house, bro. Just come out the house. Go to jail. You're gonna bond yourself out. You'll be all right. But I mean, you throwing shoes. That's uncalled for, man. Just like if it's that, I mean, it's that bad. Just leave. Just
Yeah.
take a deep breath. Just walk away. It's too much to lose. Man, you're trying to be a rapper now.
Right.
You gonna lose so much stuff. It's not worth it. I wish you could seek some help before it's too late. Before we end up saying, man, that Antonio Brown, he's not here anymore. So I mean, he's still locked up in the house right now. I mean, they haven't arrested him yet.
That's the last update. So I don't if there's anything. So the police did say that they weren't going to give updates because I forgot the exact word they used, but they didn't want to compromise the investigation or any that. That's pretty much what they said. So they said they weren't going to provide crazy updates, but that's the last update that we have. So listen, the dude just needs some help. I don't think he's going to get in the Hall of Fame simply because his career was so short compared to what I think it should have been.
I mean, Megatron's career was shorter than his, and he got in.
You're right. You're right. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Do you think that he has a chance with everything that has gone on off the
Pro-
field?
Probably not now because what's going on out the field. If he club a clean nose, then yeah. But if he does, it'll be way, way, way like Michi had been in the Hall of Fame before he get in the Hall of Fame. So it'd be something like that.
Okay.
But nah, not right now.
All right. So there are two more stories before we get to the battle. And Aiden Hutchinson said that he was going to be a Jaguar. And the Jags said that they didn't want him because of his size. We're going to talk about that a little later on. But so he basically said that he had the calls and he was straight up going to be a Jag, but then he found out that they didn't like his measurements, didn't draft him. What do you think about that?
Well, I could say, I mean, he should be glad he didn't go to Jacksonville, but then he's with Detroit and they haven't done any better than Jacksonville. Just use it as fuel. Just use it as fuel, motivation. So far, I mean, he's outplayed number one pick so far, and just show them, hey, you should have gotten me. Don't you want to talk about it? Just be about it and everything. But that's all I can say about that. I mean, still, it's Jacksonville. I don't want to play for Jacksonville. They suck.
So I think he actually is in a better situation just from the storyline alone, being the hometown talent. Frankly,
Mm-hmm.
he's doing really really well. He just got Defensive Player of the Week as well. So he started out soft, and
Yeah.
and I think what's happened is they moved him. So they moved him to the weak side, and ever since they've done that, he's been really successful. And I think hey, someone's changing people around. New concept because we don't do that here, right? So,
Mm-mm.
but
Mm-mm.
but
Yeah. Well, and maybe another thing, when you said a hometown kid, maybe the pressure of being a hometown kid, was getting to him as well. Because they're like, hey, I got to perform, I got to do this, I got to do that. But I think he's in a great situation. I know it was talking about him over here with the Texans because got the Houston background and everything. But hey, I like the kid. I like the kid. He's very flashy. He stands out on tape. They got a good defense over there. Just got to get it together. I say next year they should be a playoff team because they're gonna have J Mo back. I don't know if they're gonna stick out with Golf or maybe get another quarterback, but I think they'll be a playoff team next year. Sneaky playoff team.
I think that I think they can get a wild card next year because
Mm-hmm.
their major issue, in my opinion, is their secondary. If they solidify that in this upcoming draft, another corner, another safety, they should be good to go because it's really their
Mm-hmm.
secondary that's really the issue. Their D line
Mm-hmm.
was bad. They had the worst pass rush win rate, in the league, and then all of a sudden they made these changes, and now they're doing quite well, in my opinion. So yeah, I think they're going to do quite well, especially when Jonah comes back. But um, we'll get to the last piece of news before we get to the battle, and that's Von Miller is on IR. They were trying to avoid putting him in IR, and immediately what I said when I saw that news was, I am changing who I think is going to win the FC now. I think that's a huge, huge loss. They have been battling injuries so far. They've been a little off, and I think Von Miller pushes them over the edge to knock them out. What do you think?
I mean, he's not out for the season, just on IR, right? He's gonna come back after what, 4 to 6 games, something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, think about
Yeah,
where we are. So they have to make it essentially to the postseason without him. So they got to.
yeah. I mean, I still think they'll be okay. I mean, they didn't have Von Miller last year. I mean, they lost, but they didn't have Von Miller last year. I mean, they're winning tonight, and they should win tonight. Put them at 9-3. I think and he's older, so I think it's okay. Let him rest up. Playoffs is really going to need Von Miller. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, they lost maybe what's the wide receiver name over there? I can't think his name. Stephon Diggs.
Yeah,
Then I think that's a bigger deal. But Von Miller, I think they'll be okay. I mean, hell, they missing their safety right now, and they still was winning games
yeah,
or whatever. And he's supposed to be coming back right now as well. So I think they'll be okay.
yeah. I mean, they do have McKenzie, they do have Davis, and obviously, if when Josh Allen's healthy and can run, as I'm watching the highlights over here as we're doing the podcast. Just FYI for anyone that's watching both things like I am, and actually do the podcast. 17-7 at halftime. Buffalo is winning. So for the main event, this is what we've came here for. So
tonight, we are going to witness the most anticipated match in the history of professional wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
all right. All right. So to the main event, we have some comments here. Oh, Matt. What's going on, Matt? Wish you could be here with us.
Matt.
So let's get down to the Bryce Young versus Caleb Williams debate. Right now, there's a lot of people that obviously are on different sides. I would say the majority of Texans fans want to take Bryce Young. I would say that in the polls I'm seeing, the polls I run on Twitter, the polls that other people have done, it's about 70% of the fan base actually wants Caleb Williams. I'm sorry, 70% of the fan base wants Bryce Young. A minority of the fan base wants Caleb Williams. So you are representing the majority here today.
All right.
So because you're representing the majority, I want to hear your little 2-minute spiel, and then I'll give a 2-minute spiel, and we can go back and forth on why do you think that we should take Bryce Young?
He's a gamer. He's a leader. I know the thing with Alabama quarterbacks, they don't succeed in the NFL, but lately, you got Tua, you got Hurts, and I would say Mac Jones. Last year, Mac Jones, not this year, Mac Jones, but last year, Mac Jones did pretty good. And when you're rebuilding, in my opinion, you start with the franchise quarterback, and then you build around him. I don't like building and then trying to add a guy. You need to add a guy to see what his skill set is first, and then you build around him. I'm not tripping about his size, his height. I know you got him at 5'5" and 170. I'm going by what I see on Alabama page. They say 6 foot, 194. We don't know what the combine. He can add muscle. He's the it factor, and I think it's good for the fans to have somebody else to root behind. I think the Davis Mills hype has went down tremendously from the fans. You still got probably 30% still behind him, but I think you got 7% that's not behind him, and you just need that guy. Now, Do I want that guy with Lovey and Pep? No. Once you get him, you got to get a whole new coach, a whole new OC, so we can get the ball rolling. So that's my thing on Bryce.
Okay, so my turn
Bryce,
is
hold on, I'm sorry, Bryce Christopher Young.
yeah, you and the three middle name. I mean, using all three names. I don't know. It's like you want them to be serial killers because only serial killers get talked about when they have all three names. But let me tell you why I'm a Caleb Williams fan. And I understand the whole reason of that Bryce Young is available here and right now, but Caleb Williams to me is quote unquote generational talent, and I hate that phrase. Every single time I hear that phrase, I moan, I groan, and yet I'm using it here. And the reason why I'm calling him a generational talent is because of his athletic ability. His athletic ability is insane. The things that he's able to do on the field, off platform, like he can make throws on the run. He'll be pressured. He will make. He had a play where he literally ran for like 80 yards, scrambling all around until he was able to get a playoff. Like this is insane. The dude can actually throw the ball, in my opinion, way not just in my opinion, actually, much farther. So the scouts are saying that Bryce Young can easily throw 40 yards, no problem. Scouts are saying for Caleb, he can throw 70 yards. So he has a bigger arm as well. So he has the arm. He's not necessarily the prototypical QB size either. He's not 6'4", he's 6'1". But he has the frame. So he's 205, 207, something like that. So he's already over 200 as well. So he has the frame to actually be a successful quarterback. But the thing about it to me is he can make something out of nothing a lot. And what I mean by that is every single time a play breaks down, he will find a way, escape the pocket, throw something off platform, connect, and be able to continue. The amount of times that he's come back by having two touchdowns, three touchdowns behind, and still be able to come back out is impressive. And when I say he's a generational talent, I want to impress on you how few times I've ever said that in my life. And this is one of the times where I'm saying that. So to me, that's the talent that I see in Caleb Williams. I know some people think that a lot of the Caleb Williams fans believe that it's a conspiracy theory because we want to have Mills play for another year. We moved on. I'm going to speak for the whole group here. We moved on. We understand Davis Mills is no longer going to be a starting quarterback for the Houston Texans. In my opinion, we've ruined him, and we need to move on. At this point now, it's finding out who can be that franchise quarterback. And to me, that's Caleb Williams.
That's Caleb Williams. Okay, so if it stays like it is right now and they win a playoff game, they'll be playing Georgia. Do you think he could do all that running around against a Georgia defense that he's done against Notre Dame and Rice and Arizona State? You think he could do that against Georgia defense?
I think that you don't need him to do all of that either. I think that you take those pieces and you build upon it. Just because you don't necessarily have to scramble for 20 yards and go behind and do all this fancy stuff doesn't mean you can build on that athleticism, because the point is that these are things that he's doing off the top of his dome. He's literally looking, where can I go to extend that play, right? You don't need to have, quote unquote, every single thing that he's doing and all the fancy stuff that he's doing. But the fact that he can do it, he has athletic ability to do it, means that you always know that if you're in a position and you're down, you can realize that, hey, we got a shot with him. We have a shot with Caleb, always have a shot with him because of his athletic ability. And the difference with Bryce Young is that he can scramble. He is athletic, but he's not as athletic as Caleb Williams. And if he was as athletic as Kyler Murray, I may not even be having this discussion with you. But the thing is, he's not. And because he's already undersized, and you know that even no matter what miracle we have, we're not going to fix the line in one offseason. It's not going to be perfect. So he's going to have to get the hell out of that pressure. And I think then you factor in his undersize, and then you factor in that he's not as athletic as Kyler, and then you see that you don't at least I don't think that you can succeed. If you look at what's happening right now in Arizona, even prior to Colt playing, you'll see that he has 4 of his O linemen out. And what's happening? He can't really get much off, and he's scrambling like crazy to try to make plays happen. And he's getting close, but he's still unsuccessful. Now you take that with our situation, and not having that line, and not having someone that is even that athletic as Kyler Murray, and what do you think will happen?
Okay, but you would take Kyler Murray as your quarterback right now, right?
Kyler Murray,
Even without our offensive line, you take Kyler Murray as your quarterback, right?
because he's that athletic. It's because that
Okay,
athletic
exactly.
ability.
Okay. Now, all right. So Caleb Williams. Okay. When Jordan gets drafted this year, who is going to throw to next year?
I'm sorry, but who what?
When his wide receiver Jordan, wide receiver 1 gets drafted next year, who is going to throw to in 2023?
We don't know yet. We really don't know.
Okay, so you don't know. He don't. So don't you think he's going to regress? Because that Jordan guy got Pickett in the first round, and right now you got Caleb, as you say, a generation talent. That guy is the reason why he is good as he is right now. I mean, think about that for a minute. Look at what he did at Penn State with Pickett, and look what he's doing right now with Williams. You take him away, we don't know if Caleb will be the same guy. And then what you're saying right now, you might have to backtrack. Like, damn, what happened to this guy? He lost his best player.
The reason why I don't think that's the case, like if you just saw the last game with him, when his receivers aren't available, whether they're hurt or whether they're just not open, he'll go in for that rushing TD. He had more rushing TDs than passing TDs, right? So I think he had
35 yards rushing. He had 35 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. But that's one game. That's one game. I mean, the whole season without this guy, it's like okay, when JSN went out Ohio State, then all of a sudden here come Harrison, out of nowhere. CJ, went off with him. Can Williams do the same thing with a true freshman or the 4th string wide receiver? Can he do that? That's what I need to see. Like right now with Bryce, he lost Michie, he lost J-Mo. Then he got guys that you don't much know, and he's still getting it done. He's still getting it done. See, that's the thing that caught my eye. I thought he was gonna like take a step back. Yes, his passing yards isn't the same. He missed games or whatever, but he's still getting it done. His interceptions are still low. His completion percentage is still good. And to me, that makes a better quarterback, in my opinion. He's great in the pocket. Everyone say they like a pocket quarterback. They don't like a running quarterback. They talk about Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, and everything. So this is what we need for the team. That's why I like Bryce better than Williams, because Williams got another year to wait and see. Then what if we go defense, we pick up free agents, and we have a Jets defense a turnaround? Last year the Jets defense wasn't good. This year the Jets defense was way better. Their defense is over their offense. So what if that happens to us and now we don't get Caleb Williams? Then what? Now we're stuck without a franchise quarterback. That means that we're going to have to end up paying Davis Mills another contract, because it'll be 4 years for him. So we got to give him a contract, and then we're going to be stuck with Davis Mills, and then we're going to have a San Francisco 49 situation with Jimmy Garoppolo will be our Davis Mills. He's just good enough, but not good enough to take us all the way.
So to answer that question, we saw this earlier today. I forgot who posed the question that if the Lions wanted to go up to get Bryce Young, right? Because they're pretty much, we just talked about it, right? There could be a playoff team next year. And we do know it's not necessarily the quarterback is the only issue there, right? Like I said, it's a secondary, but Goff has some issues as well. If they actually plan on getting rid of Goff, which they have to, right? In about 2 years or so, they got only 2 years really with him. It's very, very expensive. They're not going to extend him. So they got him there for about 2 years with that contract. So it would make sense that they would get a quarterback to sit behind Goff until they fix their stuff, have Goff play, and then if Goff either gets injured, God forbid, or if he just has a lackluster performance, then you could start throwing them in. But in order to get Bryce Young, they have to give us some picks. Now we can get those picks, and we can actually stock up those picks for next year. So when you're talking about a 49er situation, we won't be that way. Why? Because we have two things. We were blessed with two things. One is that we got rid of Deshaun Watson, and getting rid of Deshaun Watson allowed us to get those picks, right? That's one of the best things, the reason why we even are able to have this kind of conversation. Secondly, if Detroit or another squad wanted to move up, that is where you can make that decision of, can we get Caleb at that time? That's what Nick has to do, because we all know that we have our preferences, and I'm sure Nick has already started building his board, and the decision has to be made how the board falls, right? The board is going to determine who he picks at the end of the day, and he's going to have his top target. But if that top target changes because he's getting an insane offer, time to go and make that happen. So if the Lions said, all right, we want Bryce Young, we need to move up a spot or two, we will give you 2 firsts, and it essentially could be more, 2 firsts, a second or third, or even 3 firsts to move up. We could take that, and then in 2024, with the picks that we already have, plus the ones that we would get from the Lions, you can now move up and get Caleb Williams, right?
So you want to use 3 picks to move up to get a guy when you're in position to not use those picks to grab your guy. The Lions at 3 right now, and that's because of the Rams. I know the Rams are injured, but if the Rams win 2 more games, then they're not at 3 anymore. Now they're back down to 8 and 9. So that scenario is not going to work. So you might as well just.
Here's a couple more things. I say you have a target, right? Your target is Caleb Williams. That doesn't mean it's your only target in 2024. If you look at the 2023 class, right, we have Bryce Young, CJ Stroud of your 2 main ones. Then you got Levis, you got Hooker, and you got Richardson. That's pretty much the 5 QBs that we're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I don't think that any of those 5 QBs are better prospects than Caleb Williams or Drake May. Now you got 2
Oh
of them.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Come on, man.
Wait, and let me say why. So now you have 2 prospects. 2 of them are considered, quote unquote, I know I hate this phrase, but I have to use it, generational talent. Sean Payton, all right? How many Texans fans have said, let's trade for Sean Payton. Let's trade for him. Let's give up a 1st-round pick, 2 first-round picks for Sean Payton. So if you think that Sean Payton is so awesome that you want to trade for him, you got to respect his words. Sean Payton said that Caleb Williams is such a generational talent that the NFL will likely change the rules because teams like the Texans will take specifically to get him. That's how much Sean Payton believes in Caleb Williams. Sean Payton said he could be the next Patrick Mahomes, right? Whereas the comparison for Bryce Young is Russell Wilson. So would you rather have
Russ Wilson and Drew Brees?
And Drew Brees. So would you rather have the next Patrick Mahomes or the next Russell Wilson?
I'd rather have. I mean, Russell Wilson's career is great. I mean, if we could get Russell Wilson's career, he got the same amount of Super Bowls as Patrick Mahomes do. So it's a win-win no matter what. If you think about it. I just think Sean Payton said that about him because he grew up in California and he grew up a USC fan. And I think that was just his way of backing up his guys. You can't say he's another Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes threw 750 yards in a game and 7 touchdowns. Williams ain't nowhere near that, right? Does he even have a 400-yard game?
So, again, you're looking at just the passing, but you realize his legs are also part of that thing, right? When I say his athletic ability, he can use his legs. It's not just the passing.
Does he have 7 touchdowns on his legs and his arm in a game yet? Because Mahomes had 7 touchdowns in a game off his arm and his leg with 700-plus passing yards to go along with that. Williams ain't doing that right there. He didn't do that at Oklahoma and doing it at USC.
So he didn't have 700, but what was it? The USC game, I think it was. He had 470 yards. So it's not like he's some chump here where he's not hitting some records. 470 yards ain't no chump change.
Okay, all right. Patrick Mahomes had back-to-back seasons passing and on the ground combined over 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. Williams nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. So how can they compare him to somebody that's done something way greater? I don't know why they compare him to him. To me, like I told you before, he's Baker Mayfield.
Basically, I'm sorry.
Like I told you before, he's Baker Mayfield. Williams is Baker Mayfield.
That is the most ridiculous comp that really.
Sorry, he's Baker Mayfield. I hate to say it, but that's what he is, man.
So let me answer your other question. How can you say that he's a Patrick Mahomes without having those particular stats? You're not comparing him based on stats. You're comparing him based on his athletic ability, his passing ability, what you're seeing him perform on the field, how he looks, how he's throwing, and one of the biggest things, his off-platform throws. And that is why everyone is saying, not everyone, but a lot of people are saying he could be the next Patrick Mahomes. It's that particular ability, the true dual threat to be able to pass, to be able to use your legs, and to be able to make those off-platform throws. Those are the three things that say could be the next Patrick Mahomes. And for this franchise to have a quarterback like that can always keep you in games, that does not have the concerns about being undersized, that 186 pounds. Man, I was 186 pounds in 8th grade. I mean, the whole thing is that it is a risk. Now, I'm going to contradict myself just for a tiny bit and say, if we get Bryce Young, I will support him. I will support every quarterback, obviously, that we draft. Nick says this is the dude. It's the dude. But right now, I will say that I can't believe that Nick isn't at least considering this option. Caleb Williams, for many people, not just Texans fan base, but just collegiately, is the consensus best quarterback currently playing in college right now.
Man, okay, look, you know what? It's Throwback Thursday. I got a throwback quarterback. You're right. He's not Baker Mayfield. You're right. He's Johnny Manziel.
Oh God, really? Is he doing lines of coke and drinking over here? I mean,
he's Johnny with Texas A&M. Everybody was, oh man, he's unscripted plays, doing this, doing that. He's Johnny Manziel. That's who he is. That's what he's going to be. So that's who you want. You want that guy right there?
Yeah, Johnny Manziel had a drug and alcohol problem. I mean, there's really no comparison there. I mean,
we're talking about on the field. We're not talking about what he's doing, outside Texas A&M and everything. I'm talking about on the field. That's who he was. And then when he beat Alabama, that's when it was skyrocketed. It skyrocketed like that. And I'm gonna give you an example. If we're gonna say he upset Georgia, watch how he's gonna skyrocket even more. If he upsets Georgia, he's gonna skyrocket even more. Like I said, I don't think he's that good of a player, but I could be wrong. And Drake, I don't know why you saying anything about Drake. Come on, man. Drake May, come on, man.
So the reason why I'm bringing up Drake May is that he's the backup. So because a lot of people have a concern, which is a fair concern, which is what happens if you can't get him. You got to have some sort of backup. I'm not saying Drake May is my primary choice. I'm saying that if you can't get Caleb, you'll have Drake May, who is another insane, freakish, athletic freak.
But he's a project, though.
He is a project. First of all, he's 20 years old and he's young and he's a freshman. But he's got over 600 yards on the ground. The dude can, again, make something out of nothing. Now, he had a bad couple games recently. And yes, I understand he's a project. But because of Bryce Young's deficiencies with his arm and his size, you can't say that he's not going to be a project in himself.
Okay, so on the arm strength, isn't that with working out? You working out, doesn't it make you throw the ball further? When you're building up your muscle mass, throw the ball further, right? Because it wasn't that a concern with Deshaun. He didn't have arm strength. He started working out, then he started throwing the ball a little longer down the field. So Bryce Young can do the same thing.
So there are limits because you can't change your bones. You can change your muscle. You can add fat. You can't change your bones. Your bones are your bones. And when you're comparing like shoulders and stuff like that, what is he, 18? I don't even know off the top of my head, but it looks like he has 18-inch.
You talking about Bryce Young, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's born in 2001. So whatever that is right now, he born 2001.
Right. Okay, so that's the problem with Bryce Young. Now, if you go back to Drake May for a moment, right? His thing is that because he has that athletic ability, he's going to be able to succeed even if he's a project, right? So I actually think that a lot of the quarterbacks out of here are going to, like, Will Levis is going to be a straight up 3-year project, right? Anthony Richardson, straight up 3-year project. Bryce Young is at least going to be a year project. Caleb, I don't know if you're going to come a project. I'll allow you to say, I'll allow you, but I mean, if you want to say he's a project, you can say he's a project, but I don't even see him as a project, frankly, because the skill sets that he has would be amazing. The most perfect situation is if we change our head coach and if he gets into a spread offense, and if you do that for Caleb, that's it. He's golden. At that point, you know that he can actually take you to the promised land at that point, because that would be the perfect system in the NFL for him. Do you disagree with that?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. That'd be a great system for him. I just got to see what he do next year when his main target is gone. I need to see is he going to regress, and I'm going to keep a real good eye on him next year before I give even more predictions, because he's still a year out.
So, all right, we've had this discussion. I just
Yep.
want to now talk to about these comments here, because I haven't really done that before. So it's my first time, guys. I forgot to check about the comments. So let's get to these. Jordan Addison is the best receiver in college football. He made Kenny Pickett better, and now you can argue when Caleb Williams needs someone to step up and make a play, Jordan Addison was there. So that's your
what I
comment.
said.
The whole thing is that, like I said before, even if Addison's not there, he'll make a play by himself, right?
One game.
I mean, that's not just one game. Even in the game of the UCLA,
I'm talking about one game against good talent, not the game against mid talent or good talent, good defense.
well, okay. So you think it's one game, and we're going to have to see at the playoffs what you think is going to happen, because we're going to see him actually play some really good teams.
Oh yeah. We're gonna see in a couple of weeks, because they're gonna play, and I'm telling you, Georgia hear all this noise. They're gonna like, oh, okay. Y'all said this is a generation guy. We're gonna show you.
All right. So you know what we'll do after the playoffs? We're going to have a part 2. All right. And we'll see what happens at part 2. Jamar Bays, forget those short QBs. So he's saying build depth in your roster in case injury. You have depth at skill positions. Take Bryce. No guarantee we get the chance to take Caleb Williams, in my opinion. So I understand that we won't have there's no guarantee, and that's why I said that we have the backup, which is Drake May, and then you have the backup to the backup. And don't freak out before I say this.
God.
You know who I'm going to say. Quinn Ewers, right? So even though he's not having the year that he was expected to have, he has the prototypical size.
So you talking about the guy from UT?
Yeah, Quinn Ewers.
But he's small too, though. He's smaller than Caleb.
No, he isn't.
Yeah, he's like 205, 6 foot.
He's over 6 foot. Bryce Young is not. Let's quickly just look at it, because I can't remember off the top of my head. He's 6'3". So he's 6'3", 206.
He's 206. I got the size right. Isn't that small for 6'3"?
He's not 186 pounds, bro. I mean,
we don't know if he's 186 pounds into the combine. We don't know that yet.
We don't know that, but we do. We have seen. We have seen that from Todd McShay, right? Todd McShay said he talked to the scout. The scout said right when the season was starting, that when he was measured, he was 5'10" and a half. I'll give him that extra half. So he's 5'10" and a half and 186 pounds. That's before
the season. That's now. Once the combine come up in February, we're gonna all this speculation. We're gonna know how tall he is. We're gonna know his weight, and then we're gonna hear from him saying this is the weight I want to play at, or I want to gain more muscle for my pro day, because he could gain more muscle for the pro day. I mean, it's not that hard to gain weight. If he need a personal trainer, my boy Jamal Burns right there, he could hook him up. You know what I'm saying? He could hook him up right there. He'll get to put that muscle on him.
Okay, let me give you one more argument, and then we can, I guess, move on to what's your hot take before we end this. And for anyone that's watching, it's still 17-7. Bills up. So the last thing I want to say, and then you can give your comment, is since we're watching the Buffalo game, Josh Allen credits Jordan Palmer for making him who he is. He said that the 3 years when he was in Buffalo, what changed between year one and year three was a lot of people think it was just getting Stephon Diggs, and it wasn't. He was saying that Jordan Palmer, working with Jordan Palmer over that time, made him be the talent that he was to get the mechanics properly, to set his foot right, to be that running that threat, but another dual threat. And Jordan Palmer says that Caleb Williams is the best quarterback in college right now. And he is another person, not just Sean Payton, that has compared him to Patrick Mahomes. So you have Sean Payton, Jordan Palmer, comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. So you have these two individuals that you have to respect. And if they're respecting him this much, can you deny that Caleb Williams, if these two guys, can you deny that Caleb Williams at least needs to be in that conversation to say how can you get him?
Why? I think Caleb should be compared more to Josh Allen than Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes don't run as much as Caleb does, but Josh Allen does. He's run a lot. Like I say, I just can't. I respect what Sean said. Like I say, me and Sean have the same birthday, Capricorn, and everything. Jordan Palmer, yeah, he's worked with a hell of a lot of guys. I respect his opinion as well, but we still got one more year to see what Williams could do. Like I say, I got to see what he do next year because he's not going to have his main guy. Unless someone's going to transfer over there to USC, he's going to struggle. He's definitely going to struggle next year.
Well, all right, let's get back to some of these other comments. Only way to guarantee Caleb is not to win the game next year. Bengals didn't trade down when Burrow was out. So if Caleb is that good, why would anyone else? And what I'll say is that a lot of Texans fans thought that we were going to be pretty good this season. And even I projected 5-6 games this year based upon the roster and so forth. What we found out was that we were dead wrong. We did not have our shit together from coaching to roster to scheming to literally everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. Not to mention injuries. So and this is when we're trying to win. All right, we won one game, and we are trying to win. Okay, so can you imagine if Nick was a little smart and said, you know what, I'm not going to put the best squad out there right now because we want to get Caleb Williams. What could actually happen? So it is not hard to actually get the first overall. The belief that it's so difficult is ridiculous. We're getting first overall, trying our asses off. So imagine if we actually tanked on purpose, what could happen? Here's a shout out for you because G-Rob, I'm kicking out of the chat. No, I'm just kidding. Crenshaw's winning this. So there you go. Coach Dante. So I'm not concerned about Bryce Young's size.
There you go, Dante. There you go. So now you said that Palmer said that Caleb was the best prospect he trained.
Jordan Palmer, yeah. Oh, you just blocked out. Hopefully you did not lose internet. We'll wait for him for a moment, but while we're waiting for him, we'll read some more of these comments. But we're the Texans. We'll overperform and actually win a few games to knock us out of drafting Caleb. And I can understand that concern, and that's why I said that the actual backup plan is to get Drake May, and the backup to the backup is Quinn Ewers. So whether it's Caleb or whether it's Drake or whether it's Quinn, we will have a top 3 quarterback. So it's not like we are only targeting one particular quarterback in 2024. Another Coach Dante comment. I'm not concerned about Bryce Young's size and how small he is. I am not at all Drew Brees. Drew Brees was able to play this game at a high level. Russell Wilson also. So I'll answer this comment. And it looks like Crenshaw's having some internet issues because I don't see him on the screen anymore. So if he doesn't come back in a couple minutes, I'll end this soon. But I'll just respond to these last messages here. So basically, I understand that the size may not be a concern when you're talking about Drew Brees, but realize Drew Brees was actually Diesel. Oh, here we go. Here's Crenshaw. He's back. So Drew Brees was Diesel. If you look at him, he was over 200 pounds and he actually had muscles. If you compare, and I should have actually just put some pictures up here. If you guys follow my timeline and if you go look, you'll see I have a ton of pictures where I compared Bryce Young to Russell Wilson, Bryce Young to Kyler Murray. And the difference is I'm not just talking about height here. I'm talking about the size and the frame. Drew Brees was built. He will kick some ass. So was Russell Wilson. Bryce Young just looks small. He looks, and I'll say it before that, and I'm gonna have to. I know this is gonna be on like old takes if we end up drafting him, but he looks like a 14-year-old pubescent boy, and that is concerning. Here's what G. Rob was saying. Only because he pointed out Caleb is a Manziel and Mayfield. Here are all the evaluations don't show. Personality, aka what's in their head besides football. So one of the things that scouts have actually said is that Caleb. I'm sorry?
Yeah, I said, the one-on-lick test.
So, yeah. So a lot of things what I said about Caleb is that he's actually a team leader. A lot of people don't understand that. If you look at any single scouting report, and I've read at least 6 or 7 on both of these prospects, that they all say that Caleb is a true leader. And so, go ahead. What?
You say he's a team leader, right?
Yes.
Didn't he leave his team and go all the way to the West Coast?
He went with his coach.
But no, you said it's a team leader, not a coach leader. So he should have all right, coach, we'll holler at you. I'm gonna stay with my team because this is who I signed up with.
See, all right, so the reason why that makes no sense to me at all is because at the end of the day, this is still a business. You can be a team leader and still make sure that you are doing the best for yourself. Are you going to tell me that if you were in his position, you would sacrifice your career, knowing that Lincoln Riley was leaving, that you would most likely be knocked out of a first-round overall pick if you stayed? Would you sacrifice your career?
I mean, he's playing at OU, one of the greatest colleges of all time. It's not like he's at UCF. He could have stayed there and still been a top pick. Then you say Drake May go be a top pick, and he's at North Carolina. So I think he would have still been okay. He would have still been okay, and guys would have came to him. You would have got a top coach to coach him. I think he'd have been in a better situation because you'd have got more recruits there.
So what you're saying is that you think he would be better off there. What I'm saying is that he obviously did not believe he'd be in a better situation, or he would have stayed. So we know he didn't think he would be in a better situation because obviously he would have left.
It's because Lincoln say, look, I'm gonna put a little money in your pocket. Come on with me, and that's why he really left. That's my personal opinion. That's why he really left. What the comments say right here?
What's your thoughts on Anthony Richardson? So my thoughts on Anthony Richardson, I'll let you also talk about it, is that he wouldn't be a bad 3rd or 4th round prospect. I don't know if he'll be going the 4th, but a 3rd round prospect if Nick wanted a project. I think projects aren't bad to take, especially when you have, in my opinion, like 15 holes to fill. And it could be a situation where Nick feels that we need to take a lot more high-end D linemen and receivers, and that people are undervaluing Anthony Richardson because he does have athletic ability, but he's a project. He cannot pass nearly as his accuracy has some major issues. So he would be a straight up project. Wouldn't be a bad pickup, but he also wouldn't be the type of dude, in my opinion, that either Bryce or Caleb would be. If you put him out there first year, he's going to have a shitty first year, real shitty first year. And he's probably going to have a shitty second year too. And it's probably going to be until 3rd year where you actually see what his true talent is. What do you think?
I think Anthony Richardson should transfer to Ohio State and be the quarterback of Marvin Harrison Jr. to up his draft stack. I don't think he should come out next year. I don't think he's ready yet because this be his first full year as the quarterback. Correct?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I said this is his first full year as the quarterback. Correct?
Yes.
He didn't start last year, right?
No, he did not start last year. It's his first full year.
I don't think he's ready for NFL. I think he should transfer to Ohio State or stay at Florida for one more year and come out in 2024. I don't think
Okay.
he's just trying to be greedy and get your money. Don't try to do that right now because he might be a 4th round quarterback to me. I don't think no one's going to reach on him. But I mean, he has talent because he got the
definitely has
legs.
talent. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that first game this year, everybody was like, "Whoa, look at this guy!" And then he fell off the map. But then he's slowly coming back on. But I don't think he's ready for NFL. That's just my opinion.
Okay. All right. I actually would agree with that. I'm not comparing. This is Coach Dante. I'm not comparing Bryce Young to Drew Brees or Russell Wilson. I'm not comparing the games. I'm just saying I'm not concerned about his height or his smallness. Okay. All right. G-Rob. If I had my way, J.J. McCarthy from Michigan, he has no big name wide receivers to throw to. His top 2 targets are 5th and 7th round prospects. He could control the biggest game in college. That's not a bowl game. I agree that Ohio State-Michigan game was pretty fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
No one thought he was a deep threat. And look what they did. They tried to just get him out and just, he was going to play the short game. And he's out there throwing dimes. I do like J.J. McCarthy. But I do think that he still has more development. He would be a straight up project, but to say that he doesn't have talent would be a lie. What do you think?
Jonathan James McCarthy, he had a hell of a game against Ohio State, but he's small too. He's 6'3", 197. That's Bryce. Well, you say Bryce is 180 something, but they about the same size. But I think he's a project as well. I think he'll be a good quarterback to stash if you had a quarterback that's been on a team and you think we're not sure about him, then I think Jonathan James McCarthy would be a great backup.
Okay. Caleb Williams, according to Google, is 6'1". Bryce is 6 foot flat. Caleb Williams is a height concern for you two guys. So it is a little bit of concern, and the reason, and I did mention this a little bit, and what I was saying was that because he's 6'1", that would be a concern if he did not have that athletic ability. The reason why Kyler is able to be successful, even though he is shorter, is because he has that athletic ability. If Caleb Williams did not have that athletic ability, I would not be this high on him because he's just 6'1". However, I will say that Bryce is not 6 flat. He's actually 5'10" and a half. That's according to the scout. Todd McShay said that's what he heard from the scout. We'll know the column line. I'm giving him that half inch. You got to give me some respect here. I'm not saying 5'10". 5'10" and a half.
So just because Caleb could scramble, you like him more. So basically what you're saying, you want your quarterback to just run and get hit and get knocked out the game. That's what you want, right?
So what I want to make sure that the quarterback can make something happen when the O-line fails, when the receivers aren't open, when there is literally nothing else they can do. Then you got to take it in your own hands.
And Bryce Young can't do that?
Not as good as Caleb Williams. He does it a little bit.
Does he have to be as good as Caleb Williams?
Wouldn't you want to get the best quarterback possible? Why would you settle for second best when you know there's something better out there?
Well, wasn't you settling for Davis Mills?
I moved on from Davis Mills, and by the way, I knew you were gonna fucking throw that out there. All right. So I will say this. There's a difference when you already have the guy on the team. You're not giving up a first-round pick for him, first of all. We're talking about giving up a first-round pick for these dudes. So Nick had already taken Davis Mills. We knew
okay.
We're not. All right. So he's already on your squad. Now we're talking about spending draft capital to go ahead and grab these guys. And that's what I'm saying. Don't settle for second best.
Okay. So what would hurt more? Losing one first-round pick on Bryce Young or losing 3 first-round picks on Caleb Williams? Which one would hurt the team more?
So it depends on the talent, right? If you think, which I believe, that Caleb is a much better prospect than Bryce Young, then he's worth those extra picks. If you think that,
but I'm talking about if both end up being a bust, what hurt more? 1 first-round pick or 3 first-round picks?
Obviously, 3 is greater than 1. So yes,
exactly. So you go with that because the risk factor is not as much as Caleb. Caleb is a big risk factor. Trading up. The other teams next year, they're going to want to tank as well. We don't know if he's going to be the same quarterback next year. Bryce Young has already solidified his career. Heisman Trophy winner. His best players are gone. He's still doing his thing. Bryce is right in it right there.
So
Bryce is right.
So let me ask the question: If Caleb Williams was available in this draft, would you still be this strong on Bryce Young?
Yes,
Liar,
because
liar.
he's played better talent, better defenses. Caleb played, I want to say, maybe one defense in the top 25. That was Notre Dame. Other than that, he played top 100, 105, 87, 97 ranked defenses. That is not impressing me. That's Case Keenum at U of H. That's all it is. Case Keenum at U of H. It's not impressing me. Bryce going against LSU, Arkansas, Georgia, Tennessee. Great well, not all of them great defenses, but it's still better defenses than Rice, Arizona State. Better defense than those guys.
Well, I mean, again, like I said, we can put that to bed when we see the playoffs. And we'll see that. But you're right. The only thing I'm going to say that you're right about right here is about the level of defense talent that he's played. However, it's not to say that Caleb had shit defenses here. So you've seen him play games under crazy good defenses, and again, it's not overall the entire season, but you've seen those particular plays. And again, it all comes down to what happens when plays break down. What quarterback is better at making something happen when the play breaks down?
All right. So does Caleb have any game last year, this year, with 100 yards rushing?
100 yards rushing?
Yes.
I do not believe so, honestly, off the top of my head.
Okay. But Bryce Young does.
Let's look right here. Not this season, no.
And not last year neither. But Bryce Young has a game with 100 yards rushing.
All right.
So if the play breaks down, he know how to use his legs. He doesn't prefer to use his legs, but if he have to, he will.
So not this season though, right? So
who we talking about?
Bryce.
No, Bryce. The first game of the season, he had 5 touchdown passing, 100 yards on the ground rushing, and another touchdown. First game of the season.
Well, I think you said, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, first game of the season, man. So if he have to, he can do it, but he doesn't prefer it. So he's more poised in the pocket. He stands tall, and he's taken several hits and got right back up. Like I say, last year he beat the better Georgia team, because this Georgia team is good, but the one last year was better on defense. So look at all those guys that went first round, the guys going first round this year, and he beat them. I don't think Caleb Williams could do the same. I don't think so, man.
Well, I mean, you're saying that he can't, but the only way you're going to find out is in a few weeks, frankly.
We'll find the free. It's not the same Georgia team, but it's still a great Georgia defense, still number one defense in the nation. We're going to find out. And I'm telling you, they have him looking like Drew Lock out there. Then I'm going to see, I told you. Yeah, I told you.
All right. And then the unfortunate, and I hate saying this, but if Bryce Young ends up on IR, I'm coming after you. Coach Dante, and Bryce Young can also throw on the move. He can be as good as Caleb Williams. I have seen Bryce Young extend plays and become a playmaker. So Bryce Young can throw on the move, but definitely not off platform and not on the run the way that Caleb can do it. Caleb has done some shit that's almost unimaginable. Like I don't know another fucking play that.
It's maybe 2, maybe 3 quarterbacks currently starting quarterbacks in the NFL make those type of plays. So that plays you don't need your quarterback to make those type of plays. It's only 2 or 3 of them. That's Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and then Lamar Jackson. Other than Kyler Murray too. But other than that, you don't really need that, man.
I mean, Jalen Hurts is doing real well with some of that athletic ability. I mean,
but he don't really throw off script though. He don't be running around, throwing off the back leg.
Justin Fields has definitely made something out of nothing.
I mean, Justin Fields, come on now.
No, listen,
with his legs.
I'm only talking about his legs. I'm talking athletic ability. I'm not talking about his passing ability. I'm talking about his legs, right? Because we're talking about how can you make something when the play breaks down, and Justin Fields has done that. I mean, how many times have we seen not even Justin Fields make 20-yard runs when there was literally nothing else open? Nobody's open. Defense is after his ass, right?
And
It
now
is
and
it
now,
is
and now
important.
he's and now he's hurt because he's doing all that running, like you say, and taking hits. He took hits as a rookie last year. He took a hit this year. He's not small. He's a tall guy. He got the size on him. So it don't matter if you're tall, if you got the size, you'll get hurt. You're gonna get hurt. But this comment right here is an excellent point, and I told you about this before. You gotta get the fans back into it. You get Bryce Young, now you're giving the fan, you're giving the city hope. They need somebody to put on the side of the building. They need somebody to put on the tickets. You're gonna give them hope because they're like, okay, we got a guy that he's won in college. Hopefully, he can do the same thing with us. You can't tell the fans, you can't tell the rookies from last year and the rookies from this year, hey guys, we're gonna wait and hopefully we could trade up and get Caleb Williams. They don't want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear that shit. They want a guy they could believe in right now so they could give us 110%. Right now, these guys already got their Bali, their Cabo trips ready to go because they know the season's done because they don't have them to play for. You got to give somebody to play for. You can't go back with Davis Mills again next year. No matter what, they got to put somebody way, way better upgrade. Even if it's Jimmy G, which I don't want that neither, but someone that's a major upgrade that the guys could believe in, the fans could believe in. I mean, even to myself, man, I spend thousands and thousands of dollars on this team a year, and when I go to the games, I be so upset because I know that once we're down, we're not coming back. I want somebody I know that, hey, he's going to bring us back. And when number 10 is out there, if we don't start off good, the game is over. I tell my neighbor, hey, bro, we done. I give it a halftime, maybe middle of the third quarter, I'm out of here. And I'm tired of doing that, man.
All right, so I'll respond to that, but I'm going to read the comment first. So Houston sports fan says, one thing I do want to mention is Cal McNair is a businessman. This Texans roster is like an expansion team roster. Low ticket sales, merch sales, etc. Bryce, marketing wise, gives an immediate boost. I understand that, and I respect that. However, what I'm going to say is that you cannot build a team simply based on marketing and PR because that will help the sales. But let's just look at the Cowboys for a moment. They do a lot of marketing PR. I mean, are they winning Super Bowls? Are they winning playoffs? What will actually help the team sell tickets, jerseys, etc., is win. Now, I understand we may have another year, not may, we will have, if in order to get care, we'll have another shit year. I get it. But you all heard this saying when you were growing up, short-term pain for a long-term gain. Are you going to give up your future of winning 2 or 3 Super Bowls to never win a Super Bowl? Because we said we want something now. We want to have a 9-8 season. God damn it, give me that 9-8 season. Or do you want to get a goddamn ring? Because to me, what I want is I want a ring. Obviously, filling the stands is necessary. I understand why that's a big deal to not just Cal, but just fans in general. But you got to understand the long-term thing. You cannot keep thinking short-term, short-term, short-term. Because you keep thinking short-term, 3 years from now, you're going to be pissed off. And when I say you, I'm talking Cal, us, all the fans, everyone would be pissed off and say we should have just had that fucking one more shitty year, and then we would have had this.
Man, a team win a Super Bowl, is so many great quarterbacks. I mean, Josh Allen's been phenomenal, and his defense let him down again last year. So they don't just because you think Caleb Williams is a generational talent don't mean he's going to Super Bowl. You get Bryce Young, you still have 11 more picks left. You could build around him. You're still going to have picks the following year, build around him. You're going to have free agency to build around him. That's the best way, bro. Bryce is right. That's all I'm gonna say. So let's
Move forward. All
wrap
right.
this up. Yeah.
All right, I'll quickly read the last of the comments and we'll close this up. TJ Williams, I'm scared with Caleb. Do we think running around will translate against NFL slimes, I'm guessing teams? Lines. Oh, you meant D lines. Okay. And the last one, which is this offseason will be interesting. Yeah, to say the least. So we'll quickly just give our hot takes and then end the show. But instead of the hot takes for the season and all this stuff, what I'm going to say is let's give the hot takes for the draft. So I want to know, what is your hot take for the draft? This 2023 draft.
Well, most likely we're going to stay number one. We're going to get that Browns pick. Hopefully it's top 10. And then we're going to get that other 32nd pick. My hot take is Bryce Young, BPA defensive guy, and then a wide receiver. I mean, that's not really a hot take, really.
That's
It's not
not a
really a
hot
hot
take.
take.
No,
Yeah,
that's
it's not a hot take. So I mean, I don't really have a hot take for the draft. Okay, my hot take would be Bryce Young. That's a hot take
not even
because
a hot take, but okay.
no, it's a hot take because okay, say for instance that same scenario you said about the Lions is right there, and they don't take that scenario and they go Bryce Young. That's a hot take because you like you said, it's better to trade, get those assets, and then you could take a Will Levis or take a quarterback the following year, as you said. But I guess that's my hot take. I mean,
Okay. So I'll give you my hot take, and I'm sure you can guess what it is. We will not take a quarterback in the first round. We will not take Bryce Young. My hot take is that we skip quarterbacks in the first round. I do think we will take a quarterback later in the fourth or fifth. I think Nick is willing to take that risk on a third, fourth, or fifth rounder, and that we will.
Van Dyke or something like that, huh? Wasn't
I
that
mean,
Tyler Van Dyke?
or something like that. Like, we'll take a really big project, and then in 2024 he's going to try to trade up. And when I say we're going to take that pick later round, that also means that we are getting picks from either Detroit or someone else because they want to trade up to get Bryce. And the hot take is that we will get a lion's share, a king's ransom for that first overall pick, and we'll use those picks to get Caleb Williams in 2024. That's my hot take. All right. We're gonna end the podcast here, but Crenshaw, why don't we tell these good folks who's been listening to us for over an hour? We appreciate you guys. Where we can find you.
All right, find me at Fifth Ward, Crenshaw, everywhere, man.
All right. First of all, I want to shout out to Landry Locker from 610.
Landry.
Landry Locker was amazing. He was doing his YouTube show, and he actually decided to cut his show short so you guys could watch us. So I want to shout out and say, if you're not subscribed to his YouTube channel, definitely go on YouTube and subscribe to The Locker Room. And obviously, you have to be a loophole because I am one of the loopholes. I listen pretty much to him every day.
If you listen, you are one.
Yes, so I'm a loophole. So I want to give a good shout out to Landry Locker there. And so you guys can find me on Twitter on Brown Chubby Bear. You can find me on Reddit, and I'm Chubby Brown Bear. And I know I haven't written an article in about a week or so, but I've been working on this one literally for like 5 days. This has taken me a long time. This article is about the prospective OCs and head coaches that we could potentially change if we do this season or next season. And it's taken a lot of time because there's a lot of research going on. But so stay tuned. It should be published tomorrow in the afternoon. So check out TexansFanBattle.com and check out the Twitter to know when it's up.
And make sure you guys follow A1 since day one test since Matthew Briggs.
Yes, shout out to Matt.
Shout out to Matty Matt.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for watching. It's been a long one today. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Go Texans. Hope we kick Deshaun's ass.